And the first one we're going to talk about is Electric Virus. This works best, of course, against Logia whenever they go for that. It helps you can just discard it. You can take control of their Logia, which is awesome, and it can kind of help you get around Logia because that one can be more of a pain because it stops your summonings and different stuff like that. It's like a, a Solemn, basically, and a Dragon form. So it's pretty cool, and this is just kind of a little tech card in a way that you can use against it. Snowman Eater. This is kind of a basic side deck card a lot of people use just because it's a good one. It has a good defense, and you can flip it face up to destroy a monster, which is really helpful. I mean, it's just a basic card. I would sometimes consider this more of a tech card, but it's one I've seen in a lot of side decks, and it actually works out really well. So it doesn't really need much explanation. And this one really shouldn't either. Thunder King Ryo. It can stop most meta decks. It is very powerful, of course. Stops from adding cards to the hand. Stops special summonings by attributing it, to get rid of the special summonings. And it can really help out for just about any meta deck it can stop, which can really come in handy, and it can really stop your opponent from pulling off bigger plays. So Thunder King is one of probably the best side deck cards out there, in my opinion, if not, almost an instant side deck staple, I guess you could say. We also have Falsodina. Falsodina is, of course, it's kind of like Ryo in a way that it goes against mainly special summoning. You can lay it face down so you can get it flipped up, and then that way it will destroy all special summon monsters, which can devastate most meta decks these days. Because if you think about it, with all the Xyz summoning, which counts as special summoning for maybe some other newer players that don't know that, it counts as special summoning, so you get rid of pretty much their whole field most of the time with just this one card. It can really get in the way of most decks. Like I said, Dino Rabbits. This can actually work against a lot of different ones, but mainly for Dino Rabbits, it can help because they're going to go for their dragons a lot. Dolka and Logia, so you can easily get rid of them, which is hilarious to do, and it's just a funny card in general. All right, now we're moving on to different traps you can side. This one is a good one that a lot of people just started noticing again, and yeah, it even got a nice reprint, and that is Chain Disappearance. This card is freaking evil. Use it on their Rescue Rabbit. They can't use Rescue Rabbit anymore. It's just that simple. This card can work against a lot of decks. I've actually had someone use this against me when I had Dragoonides, and they stopped Phalanx, which can totally just devastate you. I believe it was Phalanx in that duel, yeah. And it can do that against most decks out there, but Rabbit is going to be the main one you're going to target with this. It gets rid of them, and they're pretty much done. I mean, it's a pretty devastating card, and it's a great side deck card. Another one is Gozen Match. They have to have cards with the same attribute on the field like that. So, in some cases, it can really screw up a lot of different matchups because, like, for example, you can stop some players, the Dino Rabbits, from getting out Cabazolts is easy, since that is a water attribute. And it really stalls out most different decks. There's a lot of other meta decks, like most of these cards, that this will work against. It's one that's a pretty common card that most people will use on a side deck, and it can really stop Dino Rabbits with their whole swarming thing. So I really recommend this one too. I would almost say this one is also a side deck staple card. Here's an old one, but a good one. It seems like this one doesn't really need to be said, but I figured I would talk about it anyway. Fiendish Chain. This card's just awesome. It seems funny to me that people realize all of a sudden that it was really good. I'm glad it got a reprint, pretty recently, so that's nice that it's not a high dollar card anymore. So budget players should be able to get all these cards fairly easy. I don't think I've named over one expensive one yet. And this card will really help out. It can stop, some of their bigger monsters from attacking, their effects, everything. It's hilarious to do when they, especially go for their boss monster, just make it where they can't even use it. It's hilarious to do Dolka or Logia especially. Here's a card that works probably best against the macro build, but it still works great against regular Rabbit builds, and that is Imperial Iron Wall. It makes it so you can't remove cards from play. So it's a continuous card. It's kind of debatable whether it's really good or not in some cases because there's so much spell and trap destruction these days. But this card can still hurt your opponent. You can stall them out. You can make it where they basically can't do anything. I mean, they can't remove from play any of their cards to go after their bigger plays, whether it be for, their macro stuff or, just to remove Rabbit and use its effect. You can't do it because of Imperial Iron Wall. It stops it completely. So it's a great way just to do that, even if it doesn't, if you can just stop your opponent from one turn, that can usually be worth it. So it's a really awesome card, a little bit underrated. It's probably the hardest card to find out of all the ones I'm naming off because it was in a structure deck like that. And I believe it got reprinted a little later, but it's not one of the easier cards to find still. But it is still an awesome card. I'm kind of surprised I don't see it talked about more, to be very honest. Another card we have here is Black Horn of Heaven. it stops special summonings, basically. You know, it just, here, I'll read off its effect actually for you. You negate the special summon of one of your opponent's monsters and destroy it. Very simple. You know, negates the special summoning, so you can, of course, negate, you know, the Dolkos, whatever, anything that's special summoning, Dolka, Logia, just anything like that. And it's hilarious, you know, to do that to them, you know. And so it's a great card for that, and another one of those that's kind of underrated. You've seen it a little bit more play, and it's probably one of the cards that you mainly side against Rescue Rabbit builds, and Dino Rabbit and stuff like that. We also have Mirror of Oaths, a great common card. Its effect is you can activate only when your opponent special summons a monster from the deck, destroy the monsters, and draw a card. So, of course, it stops Rescue Rabbit, plain and simple. It can also be used against other decks too, like a Gladiator Beast, but for this, Rescue Rabbit stops it, and you get to draw a card. A freaking awesome card. One that was just a common too, and it's still a really great card, and it should be really easy to get. I believe it was in Raging Battle. Here's a different card I've never really thought of, that my fans kept telling me about, and, you know, it can actually work. It is a Nordic Relic of Leventon, I believe is how it's pronounced. It's a common card, of course. It's actually pretty cool. Here, I'll read off its effect for you guys so you can see what I mean. You select one face-up monster on the field that destroyed a monster by battle this turn. Destroy the selected monster, and cards and effects cannot be activated. They're in response to this card. So yeah, basically you get one of your monsters destroyed, you destroy one of theirs. It's an interesting side deck card. It's one you could use for this. Not bad for a common card that's really overlooked, so I kind of wanted to just mention it. It's not really one I recommend the most out of all these cards, but it's still another good card that's really overlooked and can actually come in handy. So yeah, I think it's not that bad. I've actually seen a lot of my fans talking about it, and it seems to work pretty well. And probably my favorite card to use against Rescue Rabbits. And this one you might actually already have in the deck anyway. That's what's so great. And that is Bottomless Trap Hole. Bottomless Trap Hole is one of the funniest cards out there. Why? Well, there's a funny ruling, which honestly I think it's kind of a weird one. But if you have this card face down, and they use Rescue Rabbit, okay, let's say in this scenario, and it doesn't matter what they're going for. They go for any monsters, you know, any two monsters that have over 1,500 attack or more, you know, and that's just about everything they're going for. Cabasol, Sabersaurus, all of those have over that attack. So you activate a Bottomless to one of their monsters that is special summoned in that way, and it actually gets rid of both of the monsters. Since both the monsters are summoned at the same time, the ruling says that Bottomless will actually remove from play both the monsters summoned by Rescue Rabbit. So they go for two Sabersaurus, you remove them both from play. So you're actually getting almost like the power of two Bottomless Trap Holes for one. So I think that's an amazing thing. It's kind of a weird ruling, but since it's counted as them being summoned at the exact same time, it works. So yeah, I think that's one of the funniest cards because, and most recommended because it's probably a card you might already run, you know, because it works just about against any deck out there. So it's really awesome. You know, it's almost like, you know, a Soul of Morning in a way where it's one of those that's almost a staple anyway. You know, of course, Soul of Morning is a little bit more of a staple, but I still almost run a Bottomless in every deck I use anyway. So yeah, hopefully this helped you out. There's a lot of different choices out here. I think these cards are probably the best choices. I really didn't have any spell cards because I couldn't really think of any to really recommend, but I really do recommend all these. Try them out, mix them around, you know, which ones that work the best for you. I just wanted to give you guys a wide variety of different cards, and like I've said, I mainly recommend, of course, like the Bottomless Trap Hole, Ryo, and False Dinas, and Goes in Match. Were probably the main ones I recommend the most. But everything else, I really suggest try out. What works best for you, you know, is always the best thing. So as always, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. If you like this, of course, please hit that like button. It's really awesome to see that. And what else should we talk about next? What other decks do we need to talk about to side against? And also, if you think I should do maybe this type of video in a different style or whatever, please tell me. You know, constructive criticism is always welcomed and wanted. So yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing if you have, and please subscribe if you haven't. And have a great day. Later, guys. Hope you've enjoyed my latest video. Be sure to check out the next and previous buttons that are down below so you can see some of the past and future videos that I've made. And also be sure to check out the two featured videos that are on both sides of me. Thanks again for watching, and be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. Later, guys.